Every man believes he understands what runs through a woman's mind when the lights go out, when she's left alone with her thoughts, when the world finally grows quiet and no one is asking her for anything. He thinks her fantasies are soft, sweet, romantic, the kind you see in movies. A dinner date under the stars, a slow dance in the living room, a bed covered with rose petals, his lips brushing hers as if she's the only woman on the planet. And yes, she enjoys those moments. She smiles at them. She'll never turn down flowers or tender affection. But here's the uncomfortable truth most men never realize. That's not what keeps her awake at night. That's not what burns in her body when she closes her eyes. What runs through her mind is darker, rawer, far more primal than anything she'd ever confess to you. She won't say it out loud. She won't even admit it to her closest friends over wine. Won't whisper it in hushed tones to the women who know her best. Won't ever let it touch paper in her journal. Because if she told you, if she ever revealed this one forbidden fantasy, you would never look at her the same way again. You would think she's not who you believed she was. And that fear is exactly why she hides it, why she buries it beneath smiles and soft words. Every woman carries this hidden craving inside her, tucked away in the shadows of her mind. A secret desire that gnaws at her silently. A craving that lives under the surface of her every thought. One that pulls at her whenever she lets herself drift away. And it's always the same thing, though it shows up in different shapes, different dreams, different flashes of heat in her imagination. At the core, it's her forbidden dream of losing control. On the outside, she may look like the picture of control. She's sharp, independent, maybe even intimidating. She runs her life with precision, she makes decisions, she takes care of herself and others, she carries responsibilities that would break weaker people. And she will look you in the eye and tell you that she doesn't need anyone to take care of her, that she has everything handled, that she is strong enough to stand on her own. And she's right. She can. She's proven it again and again. But what her body craves in silence, what her secret fantasies scream for, is the exact opposite of all that control. Because while her mind spends the day calculating, deciding, leading, her body aches for surrender. Her heart craves release. Her deepest hunger is to finally let go. She dreams about a man who makes her feel safe enough to surrender. Safe enough to drop the walls she's built so carefully. Safe enough to let someone else take the reins so she can stop thinking, stop planning, stop being the strong one. Because strength is exhausting. Independence is heavy. Control is suffocating when it never ends. And in the privacy of her hidden fantasies, she longs for a man who can pull her out of that endless loop and show her what it feels like to melt, to be guided, to be consumed by a force stronger than her willpower. That's why she notices confidence. That's why she's drawn to certainty. That's why her eyes linger on the man who doesn't flinch, doesn't hesitate, doesn't seek validation with every move he makes. Because deep down, her forbidden dream is to melt into that certainty. To feel what it's like to be wanted so deeply and guided so firmly that she doesn't have to think anymore. Imagine how intoxicating it must be for her, the woman who makes decisions all day long, who juggles responsibilities in her head from the moment she wakes until the moment she collapses at night. To finally be pulled into a moment where she has no decisions to make, no responsibility to carry, nothing but the surrender of her own body to a man who knows exactly what to do with it. That's why her hidden fantasies are never about candlelight and roses. They're about release. They're about being taken out of her head and thrown back into her body. They're about moments where she doesn't have to control how she looks, how she moves, how she sounds, whether she's doing it right. In her secret world, she imagines herself unraveling, undone, consumed by raw desire that leaves no space for performance. And here's the paradox men miss every time. The stronger she is in her real life, the more powerful this forbidden fantasy tends to be. The woman who seems untouchable, the boss, the CEO, the leader, the one who looks like she's unshakable. That's the woman most likely to ache for surrender in private. Because the higher the walls she builds, the more intoxicating it feels to let them crumble in the arms of a man who doesn't hesitate, who doesn't falter, who knows how to handle the storm she hides behind her calm face. But she will never tell you this. She'll never admit it, because it makes her vulnerable. If you knew, you might think less of her. If she confessed, you might think she's weak, or worse, you might try to use it against her. And so she hides it carefully. She plays the good woman in public. She smiles, she acts polite. She talks about the safe version of love, romance flowers, candlelit dinners, because those things are socially acceptable. They don't make her vulnerable. They don't expose the raw truth inside her. But her body knows. Her body keeps whispering to her. And if you ever catch a glimpse of it, if she slips for a moment, if she accidentally reveals how badly she wants this, it will shock you how deep it runs. Why does this fantasy live inside every woman? Psychology explains it simply. Polarity. Masculine and feminine energy are opposites, and opposites create attraction. Feminine energy at its deepest core doesn't want to lead, calculate, control. It wants to flow, to feel, to surrender. Masculine energy at its deepest core wants to lead, to claim, to direct, to protect. When a man embodies that grounded certainty, when he walks into a room like he knows exactly who he is and doesn't flinch, the feminine instinctively responds. She softens. She melts. She gives in. Not because she's weak, not because she can't take care of herself, but because she's finally found the balance her body has been craving all along. The forbidden truth is this: the fantasy of losing control isn't about danger. It's about safety. A woman can only surrender to a man she trusts deeply and fully. That's why the men who hesitate, who whine, who constantly ask if they're good enough, never get to see this side of her. They don't inspire surrender. They inspire caution. They force her to stay in her head, calculating, making sure she's safe, making sure she's still in control. But the man who moves with calm authority, who never begs, who doesn't flinch, that's the man who unlocks her secret fantasy. Because her body knows, even if her words never admit it, that he can handle her. And once she feels that, everything inside her begins to fall apart in the best way possible. Picture this. You're at dinner together. She's in control of the conversation, lighting up the table with her wit and her charm. Everyone's laughing. Everyone's watching her hold the moment. But then you lean in close, lower your voice so only she can hear, and tell her you're leaving in 5 minutes and she's coming with you. You don't ask, you don't explain, you don't hesitate. You just say it with the kind of certainty that leaves no room for doubt. Outwardly, she might roll her eyes, she might smirk, but she might tease you like she's unfazed. But inside she's shaking. Inside she's shivering. Inside her pulse is racing, because in that single moment, you've taken her out of her head and put her back in her body. You've touched the forbidden dream she'll never confess. You've given her a taste of what it feels like to lose control, and she's burning with it. And here's the most dangerous truth of all. Once you awaken this side of her, she will never see you the same way again. Every other man will feel weaker by comparison. Every polite, hesitant, careful man will suddenly look like a child to her. Because you're the one who touched the secret she hides from the world. You're the one who gave her what she craves but would never admit. The ecstasy of surrender. The forbidden pleasure of finally losing control. When she talks about her ideal man, she'll keep saying the same things: kind, polite, romantic, safe. That's the mask. That's the version she can admit out loud without fear. But what keeps her awake at night? What burns through her body? What she'll never dare say in words? That's this. That dream of losing herself in the hands of a man who doesn't hesitate, who doesn't ask permission for every little thing, who doesn't crumble under her strength. She wants the man who can look her in the eyes and know he can handle her. And once she finds that, she will crave it again and again. She'll never tell you. She'll deny it if you ask. She'll laugh it off, pretend it's not real, insist she just wants romance and kindness. But her eyes will tell you the truth. Her body will tell you when it softens in your hands. Every woman carries this forbidden dream. The only question is whether you're willing to see it, whether you're strong enough to awaken it, whether you're bold enough to step into that role. Because the men who don't, the men who stay blind, they'll remain polite, safe, forgettable. But the man who understands, the man who takes her out of her head and puts her into her body, the man who gives her that secret release, that man becomes unforgettable. That man is the one she'll crave in silence for the rest of her life.